out how can I perfect this thing in me, the da'at in me. That's the ultimate tikkun of each person. So that if a shidduch is the problem, it especially points to that being the focus of tefillah itself. And that's attaching yourself to the tzaddik. You're attaching yourself to the idea of the tzaddik, which is to focus on the tikkun of your own da'at, so that it achieves its maximum alignment with the person at their best, at your best. Is that what's happening?
That's part of what's happening. And one of the questions the person has to ask is what's the most effective way to do that? Will it work best by obsessing on being married or being unmarried?
No, it's about the token of the tefillah.
Right, but I'm saying, in the token of the tefillah itself, right, should that be the sole focus, or should be a focus? Right, this is like that. This is something that a person has to answer for themselves. That lady, I mentioned that example that I mentioned. What works for her will not work for anybody else. Each one of us has to come up with his own tefillah that will solve.
Right, but in saying there's no answer, what you really mean is this is the answer. There is an answer, and the answer is that you yourself have to struggle with this alignment in yourself of becoming the best you.
Right.
That's
Whether
the
or not
answer. So there is an answer. There is the answer. We'll get through everything, but especially marriage is connected to this.
But I know people who don't know anything about this stuff, and they still get married.
They're at the best level.
There's two things going on. There's two things going on. Right. First of all, to answer, the Mishnah says, "Ezehu Ashir," who's rich, right? Right? So, two people may be physically married, right? But is there really any da'at in that marriage? And they can be happily married. But what's the quality in terms of that? Right? So a person can have $1 million and not be rich. And a person can be married and not have a high quality of da'at, of being aware. So, and then the da'at is independent of one's marital state, but working on that makes it more possible for a person to come into the situation where marriage will happen. Again, there's no specific answer. There's nothing black and white. That one recipe that fits all. Yeah. Somebody else. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. So there's a lot of intermarriage in the world today, right? Supposedly 40 days before you were born, you were supposed to be appointed a shidduch.
Right.
Is it possible? There's an unprecedented amount of older single people. It's almost like a plague on the west side or on the Cape. Is it possible that because of all the intermarriage, that our shidduchim went?
Yes, it could be. This is a story I heard from the Boston Rebbe of Boston, who now lives in Har Nof in Yerushalayim. And I don't know all the details, but I know that there was a man who was dying of AIDS who asked the Rebbe to help him do tshuva. And the Rebbe said part of his tshuva should be that because he chose a certain lifestyle, whether it was he had choice or not, is a totally different issue, right? But the partner that he should have married her partner disappeared, right? Do people do shidduchim like that in that sense? Yes, that definitely happens. That's possible. Does that mean that they have to never get married? No, it could be there's a second choice. Because that whole Gemara is not necessarily referring to the zivug for this particular Gilgal, for this reincarnation. It's referring to something else.
And also, if Hashem can make any people meet, it doesn't matter where, what the circumstances are. So He can help all of us.
Right. Absolutely.
So regardless of, we're all going on these dates, like on a merry-go-round, and people say, well, you did this, you did that, not working, whatever, but Hashem can overcome any obstacles for us. So I guess I don't know how
Well, there's another thing that we have to bear in mind is that and when Rabbi Nachman says that there are levels of shidduchim, right? One level of shidduchim is that a person thinks, oh, Reuven and Esther, those would be a good match. And it never gets any further than that. It just thinks about it. And so that's a certain level of connection. Sometimes more of a level of connection that people talk about it. And sometimes further level of connection they go out. They go out a second time. And sometimes it's a level of connection where they actually get married and stay married for a week, a month, or a year, or 10 years, and then they get divorced. There are all sorts of different levels of connection. A part of this merry-go-round, right? It's also part of the process that each of us has to go through, until they get to where they need to be. Yes?
Yes, I just wanted to say that it is a wonderful thing that all of us in have turned out tonight, thanks to the efforts of the organizers, so that in addition to us being lost, we have the opportunity to meet one another. And maybe something will emerge. Maybe we should see what emerge from that.
Halavai. Andy, here's your chance. I mean, if you don't get that hint, you're really...
That's why you did it. That was...
Listen, no, why not? So, I mean, again, I started out saying, do I know the answers? I don't know. She left already, she's going to miss the answer. Or maybe not when he said he knew. Right? But this world is full of pain. We have to try as best we can to hold on to our Munah. One thing we didn't mention tonight, but it's also, Rabbi Nachman talks about it, is that everybody, even the big tzaddikim, and it's clearly apparent from some of his teachings, that Rabbi Nachman himself, who was no stranger to suffering, he lost any number of children, his first wife died, right? And he had a lot of opposition from the other Hasidic rabbis of his time, right? So he was and he suffered from tuberculosis the last few years of his life. He said all of us face, look into this, what he called this empty space, this void, where everything that we see tells us that there is no Rabbeinu Shalom. And even at such points, the job, I don't say the job, but what a Jew has to try to do is to face and to look into that emptiness and still try to find where Hashem is hiding. Is it easy? My experience has been it's not easy. I'm sure, and I've seen a number of faces here, that it hasn't been easy for a lot of people here. But the only thing we can do is, not give up and keep trying. And as Rabbi said in the story, the birds encouraged the he-bird and the she-bird. Don't worry, keep trying. Eventually you'll find. And with my friends who are in Breslov, I like to occasionally make the joke that I too am a blind, deaf, mute, crooked-necked, handless, footless beggar. Right? I can't gift anything, but at least I can bench. And so I want to bench everyone here to soon find his or her true zivug as speedily, as swiftly, and easily as possible. And the Mir Hashem will be, many simchas here.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for...
Thank you. I'm sorry if we put you on the spot too much.
No.
We appreciate your time. And we should bless you also. We should have you and your wife and families. Everything should be well.
I just want to make a quick announcement that unfortunately we weren't able to get the book to Rabbi Bergman. Rabbi, he wrote a beautiful book where Earth and Heaven kiss.
That's it?
Yeah, where Earth and Heaven kiss, where he he explains the whole concept of peace buddies and in a very